we are recording, and I'm covered in the kitty furs. A badge of honor.
We are telltale picking cat hair
Picking cat hair off myself because I had a purring kitty all over me. All right.
And she left us for this video.
Yeah, she didn't want to join us this time. Oh,
But
well.
I'm Greg.
I'm Emily.
And we're here to talk about another one that I read and she hasn't. Shame on her.
How dare. How dare I? My life's so busy. Anyway.
We have been reading Stephen King. I've been sticking mostly to his really early stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we read The Shining, we read Carrie, I read The Dead Zone. I still need to read Salem's Lot and The Stand.
Yeah. I want to read Pet Sematary.
Oh, yeah.
That's on my list.
But of his very earliest works, he wrote a lot of short stories. Mm-hmm. And he collected them in Night Shift. And I've got this beautiful edition from Cemetery Dance Publishers.
Ooh.
Which they did this in 2020, I believe.
That's beautiful.
Expensive book, but lavishly illustrated, beautifully done. A wonderful book to read with just gruesome illustrations and...
I want that tattooed on me.
Okay.
You're like, yeah, no, maybe not that one in particular, but that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, well, you know, pity the guy that has to wake up next to that.
Yeah, my poor husband.
But they did a really beautiful job with this book. It's very well done. It's worth the price. I looked through that. You know, nice, hefty case, and I love it.
Typography is beautiful,
I miss
too.
the illustration on the early paperback edition of Night Shift with that hand with the bandages and eyes. That is such a creepy illustration. I love that. And that's not on this book. But,
bummer.
you know, it was on the paperback, and the paperback these days would be in terrible shape. So,
I like this one. I like it.
So this is King's first short story collection. It is most of his earliest stories from the 1970s. This was published in 1978. So he had already done Carrie and Salem's Lot and The Shining when this book came out.
I like eyes.
Yeah.
The big eyeballs in space.
And there are some stories that have become very famous, like The Lawnmower Man is in here.
Yes.
Children of the Corn is in this book.
I figured that's what the cover was about.
Children of the Corn. And the stories were just brilliant.
Delightful.
I don't think there was one story, I forget which one it was, that was kind of every other story in here was really cool.
Delightful.
And I won't go into describing each of the stories, but I do want to touch on at least The Lawnmower Man. Because if you've seen the movie, you don't know The Lawnmower Man.
Not at all.
The only thing that survived from the original story was the title. Literally.
And that's it.
The only thing from the original story was the title.
Nothing else.
You know, the story is about this guy that mows lawns. And it gets gruesome because he mows people.
Oh, just mows over them, huh?
Yeah.
Fun.
And it's a very short story. And
I mean, whatever makes you happy.
There's none of the whole cyberspace transcendental stuff that the movie got into it.
Yeah.
It had none of that. It's just a horror story about a killer.
Oh,
there it is.
getting mowed over.
Yeah, there it is.
There's a naked man.
Yep. Yeah, and he dances naked behind the lawnmower. It's pretty bizarre.
I love it. I'm intrigued.
Okay. But
very nice.
Just amazing stories. I love short stories. I loved the King novels that we've read so far, but I had to read the short stories because I love the short form, and I was not disappointed.
Yes.
King is an amazing short story writer, and this book is worth every penny I paid for it. And I think I paid $200 for that book.
Ouch. No.
Yeah.
No shame. Yes.
Well, that's not the most expensive book I bought.
I believe you. I believe you.
but it's, it was worth it. It was a great read. It's a beautiful book. It's a great addition to the collection. If you can't afford that one, and of course it's a limited edition, so you're not going to find too many copies anymore.
Yeah.
It's not in publication anymore. They've all been sold. So you would have to get it used, and it would probably cost you $500 now. But if you can just even find the paperback from way back when, with that beautiful hand illustration, that is so cool. I love that illustration.
Yes.
Get that and read the stories. You're not going to be disappointed. These are amazing stories.
Yeah, Stephen King is talented, and we constantly like to talk about how short stories are such a great introduction to an author if you're unsure. It's a great way to taste a variety of their work and a variety of their talent. And it doesn't take a lot of time if you have a really busy lifestyle.
Right. You can read a whole short story in like half an hour to an hour, depending on the length.
And it's okay if you want more, because then you can get their novels, because Stephen King has some real thick ones. He likes them thick.
Yeah. Well, there are some writers that only write short works.
Yeah.
And I like that, but a lot of people don't like that. But, I mean, getting a novel published is a big deal.
It is.
It's a huge chunk of time. And then if the publishers aren't interested, you've spent all that time on something that you can't ever make any money off, and you got bills to pay.
Yeah.
So short stories, you can write it, you can knock a short story out in a week. Harlan Ellison used to sit in bookstore windows and type stories while sitting there with people watching him, asking him questions.
Yeah.
And he would just knock out a story, and he'd be able to sell it to a magazine and make some money off of it.
Yep.
So it's a great way for writers to make quick money on something that they don't have to invest a huge amount of time on, which is good for them surviving. Okay, maybe the book makes them famous, but the short story pays the bill.
Yes. So
for
support
a
your authors by buying their short stories.
Don't
subscribe to magazines.
Don't put down the short stories. It's a way for authors to survive.
Yeah, and I mean, when you think of people like H.P. Lovecraft,
He didn't write any.
Did not write
novels.
any real novels. He wrote long-ish short stories.
Yeah,
maybe things.
At the Mountains of Madness is more of a novella.
Yeah,
That's
it's
the
more of a
longest he
novella. But for the most part, he did not do any long works.
Right.
And all of his stuff is really phenomenal. Really great literature.
Harlan Ellison wrote some novels, but the vast majority of his output was short stories, and they're brilliant.
Yeah. Yep. So, don't knock the short stories. And of course, don't knock Stephen King, because he'll knock back.
Yeah, you'll find yourself in the pages of misery if you do.
Yeah, seriously. He will find you. He has a very particular set of skills.
But no, I mean, you can knock Stephen King all you want, but I've been reading him, and I've yet to really have any real problems with anything he's done.
Yeah. And honestly, even if you don't like Stephen King, he is laughing all the way to the bank. So, what can you say?
Exactly.
It's just the way it is. But yeah.
So, yeah, I think you should read it. I think you should
read it,
go out,
enjoy it.
At least get a cheap paperback copy at your local used bookstore or library sale, and enjoy it. I think you will. It's a great collection of short stories.
Yeah, the illustrations in this one though are pretty sweet. Not gonna lie. Like if you could find a copy of this one.
Yeah, that's the way to go. If you're a collector and want the best edition of Night Shift for your collection, track this one down. This is amazing.
Who was the publisher again?
Cemetery Dance.
Cemetery Dance.
Which a lot of people have been knocking Cemetery Dance lately.
Why?
But the other major collectible publisher, PS Publishing, I've got their Dead Zone. Production-wise, it wasn't as good as this. There was issues with the glue. And their margins are too narrow.
Oh.
And the book doesn't, it's a thick book, but it doesn't sit open. I mean, I can spend $25 for a Barnes & Noble leather bound. And it'll stay open on a table.
Just present itself to you. Yes.
The way that a really well-bound book should. And the PS Publishing Dead Zone just didn't do that. I just wasn't impressed with the production quality of that. And that's another one that I paid over $100 for. So, I personally think Cemetery
Not
Dance
all
is doing
books
a
are
better
the
book.
same. Not all high-priced items are as quality as they could be.
Right. And of course, if Suntup would ever do more Stephen King, those would be awesome.
Yes, Suntup really nails it.
They do the best.
So, yeah. Anything else?
That's it. That's all for this one.
All righty.
Go out and buy it.
Yeah.
And like us, subscribe, come back, watch our videos, comment, tell us what you think. Tell me I'm an idiot.
Make recommendations. We also love book recommendations. Our to-be-read list is long, but we are often making accommodations per request. So let us know what you want us to read. We'll give it a shot. We'll read anything.
Yeah, we got more on that list. Sorry we haven't read it yet, but we've had a
and
lot of
Jurassic Park
illnesses
is on that list too. We promise we're getting to it.
We've had a lot of illnesses and other challenges.
Yeah,
and just
day jobs
got
have been
there.
crazy, so we're doing our best.
Yes.
Yep.
So see you next time.
See ya. Bye-bye.
Bye.